Hi, everybody. Welcome to Magic Universe. This is Message from Universe 9. You know, last week's message, number 8, was so on point for me as the week went on. I just kept referring back to the message from Universe 8, and I'm like, hey, Universe talked about this. Universe talked about this. And then, so it was really cool. And it helped me out a lot as I was going through that personal journey that I had talked about in the last message. So these messages are timeless for whenever you happen to watch the video, and it's also part of the Pick a Message playlist, which you can check out the description below for the information on how to play with playlist. And if you're interested in a more personalized reading, because these are group readings, if you want a reading that's more specific to you, you can go to my website at magicuniverse.co and you can check out readings and healing, which also comes with the reading. So thank you for that. And here is Message from Universe 9. Enjoy. You guys, this is amazing. There is so much synchronicity in this message. I'm going to start with the last card that came out for you. Unknown territory, you are exactly where you need to be. And what is so cool, like if you look in the book right here, look at the page number is 111. And if you look at the numbers on the other cards on here, the numbers 11 and 7 and 1, like they're so prominent in this spread. Because if you look, Queen Bee is 11. If you look at shortages of time or money are perceptual is 5 plus 6, that's 11. And then you have Chariot, that's 7. The Star, which is 17. And Stand Your Ground is 7. Hope is 17. And then Dried Flower Fairy is 11. So there's just a lot of synchronicity with these numbers. I'm not too familiar with numerology, but I do know that 11 is like a master number, and it talks about the connections between the physical and the non-physical realms. And 1 is a number of leadership, and 7 is like a super lucky number that also talks about like the inner mysteries and stuff like that. And then also 17, I looked that up, and it talks about like spiritual consciousness and also leadership. So you can look those up to, find out more information about those numbers. But there's just a lot of synchronicity in these numbers in this spread. Anyway, let's start with unknown territory. It says you're exactly where you need to be, even if you're not consciously aware of it, even if you don't have all the answers. Keep going forward with your heart open. If you can't see clearly ahead and don't know where you're headed, keep moving forward. Do what feels right, even if your brain doesn't agree. Your heart always knows. Instead of dismay because you are in unknown territory, celebrate that you are expanding and growing by leaps and bounds. Because I feel like this message right here, it has to do with, for those of you who are feeling just like maybe there's a stall in your journey, or like you're feeling a little lost maybe, or you're feeling like you're headed somewhere good. Like you kind of sort of have a goal in mind. Maybe it's not super clear, or maybe it is clear for some of you, but that along somewhere in midway along the way, you're like, I'm not sure how to get there. Things aren't like moving quite as quickly as I wanted to, or you just like happening upon this part of the path where you're a little bit unsure, right? And so this message is telling you, yeah, you are headed to a great place. Like, don't doubt that. Like, that destination for sure is already there, as shown by Queen Bee, the first card that came out for you. It's like the bigger part of you, your higher self, your inner being, you know where you're headed, and you know that you're in control of the whole situation. It's just a matter of like coming into alignment, your human consciousness coming into alignment with that bigger part of you that knows what's up, right? And like, so the abundance is here for you. It's a matter of you tuning into your path and keep moving forward, right? So the unknown territory is saying, okay, you're looking around and you're like, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be here, but your spirit is saying, you're on the right path. Keep coming, keep coming this way, keep coming this way. And it's this thing about like following the feeling inside your heart and not necessarily like looking around to see, because if you look around with your physical eyes and you're like, this doesn't look like the right place to be, they're saying you don't need to pay attention to that so much because the outer scenery is going to change as you move along, right? Just understand that the feeling that you have inside your heart of knowing what your goal is, of feeling for your goal inside yourself. And if you're not sure exactly what your goal is and it's not super clear, like you can't really visualize it yet, feel the feeling of it. Feel the feeling of connecting with your spirit, connecting with your inner being, because your inner being knows where you're headed. Your inner being is already at the place, at that destination, calling you to it, right? So if you will feel for that connection of your true self, then and you'll be internally guided to where you need to go. And this path that you're on right now, it's perfect. It's leading you where you need to go, even if it doesn't look like it, or even if like you feel unsure, like your human consciousness feels you're unsure about it, okay? The sacred traveler wants you to know. Sometimes the traveler feels lost, right? A lack of confidence or sense of being in unknown territory. It can seem that others know more or are more qualified. When I was looking at your color, you're vibrating at like a soft sky blue color. I was also seeing this white cloudy energy around your crown chakra, just around like your head space, and that has to do with that kind of fog, that kind of feeling lost, right? That could result in a lack of confidence or a sense of not knowing your direction. And then on the side, I was also seeing this black kind of energy that it's like a shape of really sharp edged kind of shape of black color, right? And I was seeing this energy as outside of yourself. It's not really in your space, it's like in the environment, and it looks like this is what it's talking about. It's that other people know more or are more qualified. Like maybe you're looking outside, maybe you're looking on social media, or you're just looking at other people outside of you and seeing what they're doing. They seem to be confident, they seem to know what they're doing. And then in comparison, right, that I'm not in the same place as these people where they seem to know what they're doing and I don't seem to know what I'm doing, that kind of a thing, right? So I was seeing that kind of energy, like it's not really in your space, but you're paying attention to it. So that puts it in your space, like when I'm reading your energy, right? So this message is talking about like, you don't need to pay attention to what other people are doing so much. Follow your inner guidance, follow your inner calling, and place your attention more back onto yourself. It's like sometimes when you're on your journey, you kind of look outside of yourself. You look to other people to see how they're doing, to kind of gauge how you're doing. And it's like right now at this moment, maybe sometimes that could be done as a research sort of thing to learn more information through other people. But at the same time, if it's not feeling good, if it's making you feel like you're falling behind, or if it's making you kind of feel lost within yourself because just in comparison it seems like other people are doing better, or maybe they seem to be more sure-footed and more confident about their direction. Like if it makes you feel bad in any kind of way, or makes you feel lost in any kind of way, refocus your energy and your attention back on yourself and understand that you're being guided by the inner, you're being guided by a higher perspective, right? Okay, so however, it can be this very feeling of not knowing that allows one to step outside the bounds of convention and reach beyond the parameters of self that have been imposed by family, friends, society, and religion. So maybe some of that energy that I was seeing has to do with other people's rules and parameters about direction. And it's very possible that these other people that you're looking at, they're following the already established rules, and so that's why it seems like they have a direction. Because if you think about it, say, for example, I was watching this video on these guys who they grew up in a certain religion, right? And where you're born into it, they're already, the Bible tells you what to do, right? The religion tells you what to do. Your family tells you what to do. Just like everybody within that little community, that little society, they say, okay, here's your path, walk this way. And so they did that. These guys, they did this for like way into their adulthood. They were doing this, right? And then at some point when they started reaching out into more of the world and different types of people they were meeting and stuff like that, and they realized, oh, there's all different types of living, all different types of thinking that's different from what I was born into. And they started expanding their knowledge and their mind more about how life could be lived. And they realized, hey, perhaps this way that I've been born into living, like maybe I want to kind of live beyond just that route, that path, right? And so what they did is they broke away from their religion that they were born into. Now they're kind of floating around like they're not really sure of their direction, right? Kind of like in this unknown territory card where they're like, well, that path that seems so sure for like the most part of their life, right? Now they're in this unknown place of, I'm not sure, I have to figure it out along the way. And so if you're in that place of unknown and you look at these other people who have been walking a path that had been laid out for them, they're going to look like they're more sure because that path has been established by generations and years of other people walking that same road, right? If you decide to go with your inner calling, you might be called to this snowy path where nobody's walked on before, and so it might seem kind of scary, but it's bringing you to new places. It's bringing you to your own path, to where you need to go. Okay. However, it can be this very feeling of not knowing that allows one to step outside the bounds convention and reach beyond the parameters of self that have been imposed by family, friends, society, and religion. It can be a very good thing. It can help you find yourself. Cherish those moments of not knowing. It's often during those times that the greatest revelations occur. Trust that all is well. You are where you should be. There's this message coming through about when you're in an unknown place where it hasn't been established, your mind is more open to new information coming in. You're more open to receiving, like in the moment, from your inner source about the direction of where they're calling you to. Okay, so let's go back to the first card, Queen Bee. So the message that I'm getting from Queen Bee is your spirit's confirmation to you that you're in control, that you do know what you're doing, like deep down inside you as your spirit know your path and you are in control and you do know what you're doing. And that if you had any question about that, like, am I sure this is the right way? Or, I'm not sure what I'm doing. Your spirit is saying you do know in your soul, like in your spirit's, from your spirit's perspective, you do know what you're doing. And you are headed on the path of abundance of all things, abundance of information, of ideas, of this abundance card. I'm feeling it more as like a security, like the same energy as the Queen Bee energy. Like it could be talking about wealth coming in, but I feel like it's more about a sense of secure knowing, like a deep knowing of you, of your path, and also of yourself, of like the bigger part of you, and just knowing that everything is good and everything's going to be okay. It's kind of like a really deep sense of well-being. Okay. And the card says, harmonize your thinking with exactly what you desire to attract, and the universe will deliver. And that's just how everything works, how you create your reality, right? Like think in a direction that you want to go, and the universe will provide the direction, will provide inspiration, will provide the things you need along the way. Like everything is going to fall into place when you harmonize your thinking with your desire. And then the third card that came out says, shortages of time or money are perceptual. So anywhere, this card says that you have time. So anywhere where you're feeling like there's a lack of anything, it's your own perception of it, right? If you are feeling a shortage of time or money, your best effort would be to focus upon better feeling thoughts and do more things that make you feel good. Your time is a perceptual thing, and even though the clock is ticking the same for everyone, your alignment affects your perception as well as the results that you allow. As you observe the enormous differences in the effort that people apply and the results they achieve, you have to conclude that there is more to the equation of achieving than action alone. So the message that I'm getting from this is that don't worry so much about like you feeling like, well, I'm nowhere near the achievement of my goal, or I'm nowhere near even beginning to know where, at least on a conscious level, like where I'm headed or where I'm going to be. And universe is saying it's okay, like calm down, it's okay, you have a lot of time. It's perceptual. Like in the big picture, we are all eternal beings. We have all of like infinite time, eternity to experience all the things that we've ever wanted to experience, right? So there is no shortage of time. And in terms of the time that it takes to manifest something or achieve something, it all depends on your alignment. Kind of like what we were talking about in the abundance card, like when you harmonize your thoughts towards your desires, like when that is in harmony, then the time that it takes to do something or to get something, whether it be wealth or whether it be, whatever it is that you're trying to create, that it's not about the time, it's about the alignment of you and your desire, your thoughts and your desire of you and your inner being. When that is in alignment, then it's like things can happen in an instant. And then in the next card, the Chariot, now, in this particular Chariot is being pulled by a snail, which kind of emphasizes a little bit more about, for those of you who are feeling like maybe you're not moving fast enough, right? But the message that I'm getting from this card, I'm also, because the wheel and then the spiral in her hair, right? I kind of getting this sense of like the Wheel of Fortune card too, where it talks about destiny, where it talks about like you're being called in the right direction, you're being that the timing of everything is the exact perfect timing. It's there's no speeding through your path. There's no getting there too late or getting there too early. It's like everything is right on time. That's the message that I'm getting from here. And it's also the fact that she's guiding the snail through the feelers and stuff like that. I feel like it's talking about like feeling your way through, especially paired with the next card, the Star, which talks about hope and talks about like being guided by your inner guidance towards where you're wanting to go. That I feel like everything is as it should be, just like the first card was saying about you're exactly where you need to be, that there's no need to be concerned about the timing of things and also the direction that you're going, because everything is in the right place. That's a really strong feeling that I'm getting. And it's like once you have that sense of, we were talking about security earlier, right? And the abundance card and the Queen Bee card, where it's like once you kind of like settle your energies and your thoughts so that you know that even if you're not physically seeing that you're in the right place, that when you establish your knowing within yourself, and this has a lot to do with like first chakra energy, the sense of being stable, of being steady, right? Of being secure. Like once you establish that sense of security within yourself without any outside evidence of it, but you just know it within yourself and you're connected with your source within yourself, that you're internally guided in the right direction for the right timing and everything. And there's like a really strong sense of that throughout this entire spread. And the Star, I'm also getting another message about like visualizing, knowing that you're in the right place, or visualizing, if you can, visualize the end, visualize the place, that your destination and where you want to go, and like have your imagination and your energy be there already. if you're not at that place yet where you can yet visualize your end goal or the destination of where you want to be, then at least visualize a sense of security, the sense of foundation, like what I was talking about, like having your first chakra settled, where you feel like, okay, I might not know where I'm going, but my spirit knows where I'm going, and I trust that. There's like a sense of like really, really trusting that all is well, trusting that the universe is taking you to the right place. And that level of trust and knowing without outside evidence is like, it will vastly change your energy so that everything will come into alignment and synchronize for you. It's like there's so much about like synchronicity and alignment and things coming together, and it doesn't have anything to do with your physical actions. I mean, your physical actions will be inspired, but it's like once you get all of the energetics in place, the universe will kind of like fall into place for you. You know, like everything's gonna come together for you. Okay. Yeah, so I'm seeing that structure that this little fairy is sitting in, that sense of like a foundation of knowing. Okay. And that's that feeling that you need to get, is that, okay, you know, I just trust the universe. There's a really, really strong sense of trusting everything. And then in the second row, rhythm, this just tells you, you know, the rhythm, and then also the last card in the second row, between worlds. Like, I feel like that's where you are, where you're not yet in the destination, but you're kind of in between, you know. And Morgan Rhythm talks about that, like there are phases that you go through in any journey, that sometimes you'll be in the phase of creation, sometimes you'll be the phase of in the middle of it, and then the ending of it, and then it'll bring you to another beginning, right? So it's kind of like that continual moving of the wheel, like we were talking about in the chariot. And so it's like trusting that whole process of, if you know how this game works, if you know how creation works, where if you come into alignment with what you're wanting, then things will fall together, and then you'll be inspired to action. And then there'll be a cycle for action, and there'll be a cycle for receiving, right? So that's what I was talking about. And stand your ground. Stand your ground. I feel like this is saying that you being in the exact place of where you are right now, stand that ground, you know, stand there and know that you're headed in the right path. Know that you're in the right place for you, and know that everything is going well. It's like you kind of have to have this determination inside yourself that you're not gonna let these doubts or these unknowns like scare you off your path. You know what I mean? It's like you just have to stand your ground and say, I am here right now, and things will work out. I will figure it out. Things are happening for me. I mean, I'm reading a group here, so you guys might be in various places on your path. Like some of you might be more confident than other people. Like some of you might be closer to the Queen Bee energy. Some of you might be closer to the other energy of like, you're not sure, right? And but in either case, there's this sense of like there being a path that you've been walking on, right? And it's kind of like this message is talking about seeing it from that bigger picture of, there will be times when I know where I am, and there will be times when I'm not sure where I am. And like all along that path, because this path is like infinite. It's kind of like, even as you reach one goal, there will be another goal, right? And so you're never going to finish walking this path, and it's going to be continual. And so this is talking about keep staying on your path, stand your ground, keep walking your own path, right? And so the stand your ground is also the Seven of Wands, for those of you who also read tarot. And hope is also the star. So you have the star twice in this spread. So yeah, we were talking about the sevens and the 17s, right? This, I feel like it's star in terms of like hope, in terms of like following your inner light, following your inner guidance. Also, because of the picture in this card, I'm also seeing this kind of determination also that we were talking about with the third chakra, the solar plexus, the will, you know, using your personal will. Now you're using this personal will to stand your ground. You're using this personal will, your solar plexus, to make that determination for yourself that I'm in the right place and I know where I'm headed. Like, even if you can't picture it, you just have a knowing inside you that I'm being guided from within. And I love that this yellow is the same as the yellow in the queen bee. Like, there's this knowing that, okay, I'm on my path towards the queen bee, or towards being the queen bee, or I'm on my path towards the knowing and the full ownership of who I really am, right? And then the next card, Dried Flower Fairy, Sweet Memories. This card came out and I just had this sense of you are on the path that you set yourself out to be on when you were born. Like, when you as a spirit came into this baby body and decided, I'm going to live this life. You had intentions when you came in, right? And you are living out those intentions right now. So don't be afraid that you've swerved off and swayed and is like lost somewhere, because you're not. You're exactly where you need to be. And there's a really strong sense of your spirit is letting you know that, okay, when we meaning you and your spirit, because before you were born, you and your spirit were one, right? And then you split part of yourself and stream part of yourself into your human consciousness. So when we were one at the very beginning, before you became human, we had intentions. You are perfectly aligned with that right now, and you are walking your path. And that's the message that I'm getting through this Dried Flower Fairy. It's very nice. Wow. Okay, so we talked about Between Worlds. There's also a message coming through in Between Worlds about communication between the physical realm and the non-physical realm. Some of you might be mediums. Some of you might be channelers of spirit energy. So whether that be like spirit as in like dead people, or spirit as in your source energy, or like angelic energy or spirit guide energy, anything like that. Okay, it's communication between the spirit realm and the physical human realm. So some of you might be on that path of studying that or practicing, learning that. Okay. All right. I feel like, even though I talked about all of the cards, I feel like there's like a final message coming through. Let me take a look. Okay. So a final card came out for you guys, King of Swords. So this is talking about complete clarity of your path. This is so perfect because if you see, there's the light at the crown chakra, okay, of this King of Swords. And then also there's lights along the way. So it's like, as you're going through your path, you're going to experience points of clarity at certain parts along the way. And then certain parts won't be lit, and you'll just have to trust that inner knowing inside you that you're going in the right direction. And you are, like, every step of the way you're going in the right direction, and at some point it's going to become clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer. And that's what King of Swords talks about, is that clarity of knowing. And so I kind of get the sense that if you look at this whole spread, like starting with the Queen Bee, the Queen Bee is more of like a destination, a goal, where your higher being is at right now, at that energy, but it hasn't been manifested yet, okay? And then when we get to this King of Swords, it's about you walking that path and knowing and getting closer and closer and clearer about that knowing, about, it's like having that knowing first, or having that goal or destination in mind first, and then it becoming clearer and clearer as you go along the way, and then having it manifest. And the journey is about you becoming clear about who you are, you becoming clear about what your path is, and walking that path. Because some points of it will be lit where you're like, oh yeah, I know exactly what's going on. And then some points of it won't. But as you go along, it's going to get clearer and clearer. And then even when you get to those places where you're not sure, it's not going to feel bad because you're just going to know. You're just going to know that you're on the path and you're going the right way. All right. So that's your message from Universe 9. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please click on the thumbs up, like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I will see you next time. Bye.